Today we're talking about solving multi-step equations. In this problem, we need to use the distributive property to help us solve for d. So I'm going to distribute the 15 to the 20 and to the d because, of course, 20 plus d can't be combined. So 15 times 20 is 300. Then I'm going to add to that 15 times d, which is 15d, and that should equal 420. Now we have a two-step equation that we're working with. So let's combine our like terms and take the 300 away from both sides, so we're left with the 15 in the variable on the other side. So to solve for d, we have to divide by 15 and we get 8. Let's look at some more. We've got these two. I want you to try them for me and I'll be back in just a second to show you what I did. Okay, so make sure that you have distributed the -3 to both sides and the 5 to both sides. So in this case, I get -27 minus 3x equaling 33. I'm going to combine my like terms by adding the 27 to both sides so I can get that -3x alone, and this equals 60. Now I need to get x alone, so I'm going to divide by a -3. And so when I divide, I get x equaling a -20. Remember, you can check your work by plugging it back in. So -3, 9 plus a -20 equaling 33. So if we take 20 and we subtract 9, we get 11. And this is a -11 times a -3, and that does in fact equal 33. So it checks. Over here, we're multiplying 5 times a, and then we're taking the 5 times the -7 and getting a -35. So we need to make sure and combine our like terms by adding 35 to both sides. When we do that, we get 5a equaling 60, which means we have to divide by 5 to get a by itself, and when we do so, we get 12. You can plug that in to check your work, and when you do so, you get 5 times 12 minus 7, which is 5, which 5 times 5 gives you 25, so it checks. Okay, what if we have the distributive property on both sides? That's okay. First, distribute your 8, then distribute your 4, and let's start simplifying. Okay, so once we have simplified on both sides, we're going to take and we're going to start combining our like terms. Doesn't matter which one you move first, but I just decided to move the 16x. So that means I'm going to have 32 on this side, bring down my 12, okay? These two I haven't touched yet. And then a -20 plus 16x is a -4x. Now I'm going to move the 12. So bring down my -4x, and on this side I have 20. Now I can divide by -4, which means I'm going to be left with x equaling a -5. If you want to plug it back in to check your work, you shouldn't ever miss one of these problems because you can check your work. So take a look. I plugged in my -5 for x. So I have a -2 times a -5, which is a +10. Plus 4 is 14, times 8 is 112. Over here I plugged it in, and a -5 times a -5 is 25, plus 3 is 28, times 4 is 112. So it checks. Go ahead and try this one for me, and I'll be back in just a second to show you what I did. Okay, so make sure that you started by distributing the 6 to both sides and distributing the 2 to both sides. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know where this x went, so please add it to your notes. This side, you should have 6x minus 8 plus x, so we have 7x minus 8. On this side, we had 6x minus 18 plus 1, so it's 6x minus 17. So take the 6x away from both sides, and on this side, you're left with -17 equaling x minus 8. Add 8 to both sides, and you're left with a -9 equaling x. Okay, so let's look at some of these where we have a situation. At the fair, Hunter bought 3 snacks and 10 ride tickets. Each ride cost $1.50 less than a snack. If he spends a total of $24, what was the cost of each snack? The first thing that we're going to do is write an equation to represent the problem. So, for example, we know he's buying 3 snacks and 10 ride tickets, which if we take the ride ticket, it's the snack minus $1.50. Okay, and that should equal $24. So we combine our like terms and we get 3s plus 10s minus 15 equaling 24. Combine our s's and we get 13. And then let's add 15 to both sides. So we get 13s equaling 39. So each snack is $3. So why don't you try these, and I'll be back in just a second to show you what I did. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I did with this one. So watch here. You're going to distribute the -8 first to the w and to the -6. Then you're going to take and you're going to subtract 48 from both sides. Then you're going to divide by -8 on both sides. So in this case, your answer is 2. You can plug that back in and you get 2 minus 6, which is -4, times a -8, which is 32. So you shouldn't ever miss one of these. Okay, so in the next one, we got to be careful and we have to first simplify by using the distributive property. So I start by distributing and then I combine my like terms on this side. So I'm left with 5z plus 22 equaling 8z minus 22. Okay, so let's add 22 to both sides to get rid of it over here, which means I'm left with 8z on this side equaling 5z plus 44. Then I'm going to take away the 5z from both sides, and we're going to be left with 3z equaling 44. It goes in evenly, the 3 goes in evenly to 44 14 times, but then we have 2/3 left over. Okay, let's look at number 3. Mr. Richards' class is holding a canned food drive for charity. Juliet collected 10 more cans than Rosanna. Santiago collected twice as many cans as Juliet. They collected 130 altogether. How many cans did Juliet collect? Go ahead and try this one, and I'll be back in just a second to show you what I did. Okay, so if we look at this, Juliet, let's use J for Juliet. Then we have Juliet collecting 10 more than Rosanna, which means Rosanna is Juliet if you take away 10. Santiago is collecting twice as many as Juliet, so that equals 130. So what we have here is 4J minus 10 equaling 130. So if we take the 10 and we add it to both sides, we're left with 4J equaling 140. Divide by 4 and you get Juliet's getting 35 cans. Okay, and that's all I have for you today, so I'll see you